Billie Eilish doesn't like billionaires. She's only worth 53 million, and it's not cool that some people are worth 20 times or more than that. She will be the main topic of today's show. Later on, we're going to talk about another topic. Earlier, a couple of months ago, was it? Only two Jews were murdered in the terrorist attack in Manchester, and for Pep Guardiola, the decorated manager of Manchester City, those are rookie numbers. He is not one to stand on the sidelines except during the match, so he decided to do something about it. We'll talk about that a little bit towards the end, but let's talk about Billie Eilish first. I'm joined by Maria, Michael, Daniel. Should we start with the clip, or at least with some of the clip until I'm annoyed enough and want to pause it?
The
Go
clip
for
is
it.
like 20 seconds, so I think we can do the whole
Well, I'm
thing.
not sure we'll make through the whole mix, but let's start.
Love you all, but there's a few people in here that have a lot more money than me. And if you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire? No hate, but yeah, give your money away, shorties. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
So well argued and deeply thought and explained. Yeah, again, 53 million is not pocket change. You know, some singers have made it past that, but I guess this is well, I'm not gonna guess. I'm gonna go to Maria and let her guess. Maria.
Well, yeah, so when you first told me what the topic of today's show would be about, my first reaction was to check what Eilish's net worth is, and it's somewhere north of 50 million. My second thought was, well, you're a millionaire. Why are you a millionaire? And if you're asking other people to give away their money, give away some of your own money. But that, of course, is besides the point because I don't think Billie Eilish should be giving away her money to fix the world's problems without articulating what problems she's trying to solve and how exactly giving away that money would even begin to sort and fix the problems. Yeah, that's kind of my starting thoughts were. And then I saw the video, and like you said, it's not the most aspirational. She doesn't really dive into anything really, doesn't say anything other than there's more like there's richer people in the room. Why are you rich? Give away your money. So yeah.
Yeah, there was literally no argument, no explanation. It was just, trying to be cute, trying to be funny. I don't think succeeding in either one of those. But Michael, you are probably the most qualified here to talk about millionaires and billionaires. What are your thoughts when you watch that clip?
Well, I guess her assumption is that she didn't actually, quote, suppress or oppress anybody to get to be the millionaire that she is. But somehow, if you reached it to the big B, the billion level, you must have done it illegally or terribly. What's even more ironic about that is that many of the billionaires, if not most, are actually industrialists who created more jobs in their life than this woman will ever create. She might create 100, 200 jobs with all the group around her that support her and all her music and everything, but she doesn't create real jobs, and she doesn't create real products, and she doesn't create real companies. But the assumption is that somehow the people that did those things were bad, and that's how they became billionaires, and that she's okay as a millionaire, but she's going to give some of it up just to show you how virtuous it is. I think the whole thing is ridiculous. It's dangerous. It's utterly stupid, and it really it's this back to this communistic altruistic baloney that is so popular among stupid young people who choose not to learn anything about economics, not to learn anything about how progress is made in our advanced industrial societies. And it sounds good to a bunch of, frankly, airheads. It's useless. It's useless as a policy. It's completely useless. And the last thing I'll say is the other implication is that when you give it away, you're giving it away to groups, either governmental organizations or non-governmental organizations, that somehow know how to dispose of your income better than you do. in terms of fixing the world's problems, et cetera, which is very ironic because, frankly, the governmental organizations are largely responsible for not fixing any of the problems that we've had because, frankly, I'm 62 years old, and the problems that we had when I was 12 years old, 5 decades ago, are very similar to the problems that we have now. And our governments, I have to say, have done an absolutely horrendous job of addressing these issues. And lastly, most of the issues have actually gotten worse. But meanwhile, the industrialists and the progressives and the inventors have actually given us technology and breakthroughs, et cetera, that make our world a better place to live, a safer place, potentially safer place to live, and certainly potentially a healthier place to live, despite the governments.
Daniel, politics is downstream from culture, and when when cultural figures, again, she's not innovating anything. Culture is downstream from philosophy, and that's where that's where she gets what she is repeating in not even really her own words. But yeah, there are people already in politics talking about there shouldn't be billionaires. It's um, worrying. It should be very worrying, especially since we hear it in American politics, and that's the last place that there's still any hope for. Um, and it raises a bunch of questions. One of which, for me, is why specifically a billionaire? Why not cap it at 500,000? I mean, Billie Eilish, if it's from each according to his need, ability to each according to his need, nobody needs 500,000 even. So, but yeah, Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, first, the overly focus on billionaire, it comes from just people who have more. Because, I don't know what is like the culture like in Japan, because, I think $1 is like 1,000 yen or something like that. So do they specifically just go after trillionaires? Like, is that what they focus on? And like billionaires are okay since it's like a different thing. But it's simply, somebody who has more. And we can talk about Elon Musk a bit later because I want to focus on Billie Eilish specifically because in many ways I feel bad for her. She simply accepted the morality that is around her, and she suffers the consequences of it, right? Because I before the show I went to her top music, I went to listen to it again, and especially her more recent stuff I do like. It's decent music. So the reason why she has value and she's providing value to other people is the music she creates and money she gets from it. Like on Spotify, she has like 100 million monthly listeners. The money she gets from it is simply the result of, her productivity. But the only time people speak positively about her is when she gives that money away. That's like the moral act. It's like, wow, the good thing she did is that she gave money away. Not the music she created, not the things she did by her work. It's what she does with the money that's not like actually about her. And in one way, that is disgusting. And in second way, that is, I feel sorry for anybody who has to suffer from that morality, who cannot look at their music, cannot look at their creation and say, wow, I've actually achieved something. No, it's only when you give it away. And even the act of giving away, I think somebody mentioned about like it doesn't matter where you give it, right? Because it doesn't matter. Like if that money was set on fire, those people should get the same moral credit. Because it's not about if you improve things. Because people try to defend Elon Musk by saying he actually improves things, which I think is a bad way to fight that argument. But Elon Musk does actually improve things. But it's not about the improving things. It's the act of giving away. So actually setting the money on fire would be the most moral thing to do because you actually know that there is nothing selfish you can get from that, right? There is nothing. It reminds me of a Friends episode where they argued that there's no like altruistic act because even when you give money to somebody, you like feel good. And this is the actual philosophy. The only way to actually be a proper altruist, a proper moral, is ideally to kill yourself because that is the one thing you actually get no value from. But yeah, it's kind of hard to go about life while killing yourself. So we compromised and we simply, just give it to some organization and whatever. Don't even care about what it is about and talk about how other people should do the same thing. That is the most moral thing. it's sad because again, this should be, especially this award. It was like a Wall Street Journal award. It's a celebration of her. She won something, and the only thing that is being talked about is not that she won it, is that, oh wow, she spoke truth to power at this event.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that we were supposed to listen to her music in preparation for today, so I didn't do my homework. But yeah, like so, what my favorite ever Bernie Sanders answer to a question was when he did this town hall forum with CNN. I think it was 2016, and he was asked, you talk about billionaires and stuff, but you're a millionaire. You have houses that are worth millions. And he said, yeah, I earned that money. I sold books. And I'm listening. I'm like, that's true. That's correct. Yeah. Now apply it to others. Anyway, Maria.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people who hold certain socialist views, if they understood how economics works, they wouldn't be socialists, I guess, or at least I like to think. And that's exactly the point. Like Billie Eilish was on stage receiving this award because she put years of work and talent, and it's the commercial success that made this award possible. I don't know if she is somehow, I don't know, ridden with guilt. Maybe she doesn't feel like it's deserving, that she's deserving of the award, and therefore she's sort of attacking herself and attacking other people who create and make money as a result of their creation. But yeah, this isn't new. This is like the safest position that a public figure can take. I don't know why specifically attacking like billionaires and not millionaires. I guess maybe there's more millionaires, or maybe a billion is such a big number that they can't really picture it in their head. So it kind of feels like that's like a safe number to go for. Yeah, it's like low risk, high status. But yeah, altruism applied to economics. If you created wealth, your virtue is only proven when you surrender it.
Yeah, I don't know if these people understood economics if they would change their mind. I mean, that's generous. That's thinking that they get it wrong, and that's possible, and it's possible about some people. I'm sure it's true about some people. But no, I think some people really do want, they don't think, okay, if these billionaires gave some of their money away, there would be less poverty. Because no, there's less poverty because of these billionaires, because they built something, they hired people, they sold stuff that made people's lives better. Everything they did to get to where they are, if they are, billionaires in the American sense, let's say, rather than the Saudi prince sense, then yeah, they've done more becoming a billionaire than they would giving it all away, and it will at some point run out. But yeah, Michael.
Well, I just had one more example. I mean, who remembers that Bill Gates started Microsoft, right? I mean, all we hear about is the Gates Foundation and how they're ridding the world of malaria. Let's be clear, they're giving grants to mostly pharmaceutical companies who are coming up with innovative, really cool drugs based on their expertise. These horrible profit-seeking, awful pharmaceutical companies, and those are the companies that are actually producing the things that are life-saving. But Bill's remembered for this, and the fact that he helped institute a computer in every home, and I'm an Apple guy, so I have no particular love of Bill Gates, and I've always been an Apple Macintosh guy, but he did wonders for things, and frankly, the Gates Foundation doesn't come close to the kind of improvement in human condition and productivity that Microsoft did and continues to do. But we have a stupid society. I say that because I think part of the problem is that you are right. There's a lot of people who would just stick with it feels good, it must be okay. We all know the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And there's a lot of people that would stay on that road to hell as long as they can keep professing their good intentions. They don't really care that their policies don't work. We have an entire wing of Congress now called the Democrats, who are reinstituting the same failed policies in America that have led to disasters in history in America, and now we're going to repeat them, and we are repeating them. with defunding the police and no parole. I mean, no parole meaning people just get out for violent crimes and so on and so forth. We're doing a lot of stupid stuff that's just part of the good intentions. And all they do is say, well, we were wrong, but it was okay because our intentions were good. That's one side of this. I think the more scary side, which you guys have brought up very well, is that, you know, the other joke that's said is that capitalism is the worst system we could possibly have, except for every other system. And we don't have a better system because human beings are not ants, and we're not bees, and we're not born with a certain worker bee mentality or queen bee mentality, et cetera. We all have drives, we all have needs, we all have desires well beyond, it turns out, the basic needs of living. And if someone does something legally and creates value and people are willing to pay for it, no one, and that's the true meaning of liberty, has any business telling them how to dispose of their appropriately earned income. Period. It doesn't matter how much you're worth. Nobody went and told Rockefeller back then to give it all away. Same thing with JP Morgan. So we have the Rockefeller Institute, we have the Rockefeller with a lot of good charitable stuff, but we also have a lot of industries that Rockefeller backed. JP Morgan, largest bank in New York. I think it's possibly one of the largest, if not the largest in the world. It is absolutely, not only is it's stupid, but it is evil to infringe on someone else's liberty and direct them on how to redistribute their hard-earned money. And secondly, it presupposes that there's an entity on earth that is better at distributing that money to solve problems than an individual. And no one can prove to me, and I ask kids, I mean, when I hear these friends of my kids, because we brought our kids up in a very Ayn Randian household, I ask kids, where do you think free healthcare comes from? Well, the government gives it to you. And this is how it all starts. The great government. Go walk into an American post office and see how amazing the government is. Go walk into go to the Social Security Administration. Look at our TSA lines for airport security. It's generally, they get the job done. The people are hardworking, granted. The government institutions themselves are terrible. They are mediocre at best. Everybody knows it. They are not run like a private institution or a business because they don't have to be. They're not accountable to anything. And it's absurd in both theory, philosophical theory on liberty, and in practice because there is no better distributor of someone's earned income than the person themselves.
All I can think about after that is my experience at the DMV in Israel. I don't know if you've ever been there, but people in the US.
Four times to get one license.
Yeah.
I'm 62. I've been driving since I'm 16. Yes.
Yeah. The DMV, I mean, people complain about the DMV in every country, but Israel, I think, is unique.
Yes.
Deborah says, I noticed that Bernie Sanders used to rail about the evil of millionaires until he became one. Yeah, that's convenient, Daniel. I'm gonna start advocating for capping people's net worth at the undisclosed amount of debt incurred after a conference. Let's see if any politician takes me up on that. Mr. Men's Deluxe says, is Daniel by now a full-timer on this channel? He's been a full-timer on this channel for a while, but welcome back. Daniel.
Yeah, by the way, I never understood the sort of the DMV problematic because when I got my own driving license in Slovakia, it was basically we did like my driving test, then they just gave me a paper, kicked me out of the car. Next day I went to police, gave them the paper, and like a day later I had my driving license. So it all took like 3 days and like 10 minutes like each day. So I guess move to Slovakia. It's we have no tax on capital gains. So there's a few good things, although a very bad government. But I mean, let's get back to the topic because you know, Michael mentioned Bill Gates, but here is a funny thing about Bill Gates because as much as you know, yeah, I think what he did with Microsoft was great, and I think he himself was really disgusted by the government influence on Microsoft, the fact that he had to learn that he has to lobby government if he doesn't wish the government come after him. The fact is that, at least from what I've seen from him, he seems to like enjoy actually his philanthropic aspects. And that is also a problem according to altruists. That's why there's so many conspiracies about Bill Gates, is because that guy enjoys too much giving away his money, or that guy enjoys a little bit too much, like and he, I think, does great stuff. I think his like focus on malaria, or what was it? I think it was something in Africa, whatever. But like the research he did, the research he supported is like, a great improvement, but that is also a conspiracy, right? It's like, we don't like that. We, according to ultra morality, we don't like somebody like enjoying too much. It's life should be about, you do your duty, you don't really like it, but you do it because you have to, and you sort of get through life in that way. Anybody who enjoys anything is a problem. And I think that's what's really interesting. And now going into Elon Musk specifically, because I see a lot of like you see usually two types of defense. It's either, well, why is Billie Eilish not giving her money away? Or on the other way is like, well, no, 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 Elon Musk is actually altruistic. He is actually, even the idea of like he's providing jobs to people, or that he gives money away, which I think he does donate. I think he actually donated Tesla stock even to some charitable organization. So like, no, 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 he is good because he is actually giving his money away. But that is not the thing. That is not the problem. It's as long as you have money, or not even money, as long as your net worth is a bit too high, that is a problem. Because Elon Musk, he probably has less cash than me, if we're being honest. It's very rare that rich people have like Warren Buffett, that they have just like 100 million of cash in their investment portfolio just to like wait for an opportunity. Their money is usually tied up in assets, because how do rich people become rich? It's they usually own a company, large percentage of a company that they founded, and that company becomes very important. Many people want it, and that means the stock of that company goes much higher. And since they are the founders, they probably own like large part of it. Elon Musk specifically owns like 20% of Tesla. That's a lot. That's whatever you do. That's gonna look, and I think I think it's like 200 billion, which is like more than one third of his wealth is simply tied in Tesla. By the way, if he sold it, that money would very much be much less, because Tesla kind of relies on Elon Musk being a CEO and Elon Musk like owning, so he cannot even really access it. But again, that's not the point. It's you have to give it away. It's nobody cares about how you got the money. Nobody cares about sort of what you actually do with your life. It's all about other people. It's all about how do you not even how do you specifically benefit other people, but like how do you sacrifice for other people. Unless you like give up something of yourself that you hold dear, you won't be viewed positively. So yeah, all the positive coverage of Billie Eilish, of how she speaks out and that and that, and we didn't even go into, maybe Razi, you want to bring it up about how what we can do with the money that Elon Musk has.
Do we have that in another clip?
No, it was like a post, so we will
Okay,
do.
then let's get to that next time I come back to you. By the way, Daniel, Billie Eilish is definitely watching, and I think we should cut out and post the part where you said you have more money than Elon Musk because she more cash because she
In
will
cash, in
yeah,
cash.
she'll hear what she wants to hear, and yeah, we'll be in trouble. Thank you.
And funny
Apologies.
enough, even I do not have like my money in cash. Like more than 60% of my money is like in stocks and stuff. It's like who actually has like money like in cash? Like what do you do with that?
I actually have some money in cash right now, but that's unusual.
You
Uh,
put it under the mattress and keep it for a rainy day. What do you
I,
mean?
I I mean I mean cash even in like checking account. Like who keeps like tens of thousands even in like a checking account, unless you like have big expenses or big family or something like that.
Thank you, Apollo Zeus, for the super chat. Apollo Zeus says Maria's back. Yes, and hopefully she will be back again even after I ask her the next question. Maria, Taylor Swift is a billionaire. Is this what Billie Eilish was really upset about? Is this some sort of cat fight that we're not aware of?
Potentially. If it is, it's not a cat fight that I myself am aware of. But just on Billie Eilish, I mean, I'd love to know what she donated her money, what cause she donated her money to. I really hope it's not anything government related. If she's feeling charitable, good for her. I mean, it would be great if she invested that money into creating things that create jobs. I don't know. She's passionate about music. She should, if she wants to, she should really go and yeah, invest that money into a business, hire people, innovate. But I don't, yeah, again, it's what everyone has said. I don't think that she thinks about that. I don't think that she cares. I don't think that she understands how the markets and businesses and the people who benefit from both, how it all works and operates. That's why the best that she can do is accept this award with, a very just bland statement. And makes the headlines.
So, food equity, climate justice, reducing carbon pollution, and combating the climate crisis.
Yeah, that's great. But I really want to know what exactly, because is she innovating into a company that helps, I don't know, get clean water in Africa? What exactly, like, I'd like to know the method, and I'd like, yeah, by which she thinks that the money that she has donated will change things.
Well,
Not
I
in a
can tell you,
cynical way, like I'm generally interested, are you investing in companies? Are you investing in
giving away is rarely investing in companies.
Yeah, well, exactly. But I think if she that would be a good use of her 11.5 million that she gave away.
Well, I can
No,
tell you
no,
none
quite.
of
I
it
was
went
going
to
to
the
add,
Ayn
I
Rand
think
Center
that
UK.
that's a super point. Absolutely. I mean, the innovation does not come from supporting a climate crisis organization that's going to go protest at the G6 or G22 or whatever, and talk about how we're going to turn off fossil fuels, which, oh, by the way, is going to lead to thousands more people freezing to death during the winter or dying of heat stroke during the summer, well documented. That doesn't help anybody. This notion of saving our way to success. It's the Jimmy Carter. How do you solve the gasoline shortage in America? You reduce the speed limit to 55. That is the utter stupidity of a peanut farmer, and it is the same mentality that's been pervasive in the in this altruistic mentality that this isn't going to do anything. What you do is you invent companies like Tesla and you make cars electric, and we can get into the total cost and et cetera. But everybody agrees, I believe, that air in cities is much cleaner with more electric cars, which is a big deal. And there's less death, and there's less asthma, and there's less so on and so forth. Great point, Maria. She's not doing that. She's giving it away to a bunch of do-gooder organizations that are full of it. They have a zero track record of success. We all see that. Even Bill Gates has backed off from his climate crisis is going to lead to the end of humanity. This kind of feel good baloney with no measurements. My gosh, if we did medicine that way, I'd be sued. I'd be in jail by now if I had no outcomes done on my results. So I think it's a super point.
Well, on that point, Michael, somebody in the chat shows us that there's a limit to the actual concern about fossil fuels from the climate change people. There's stuff they care about more. There's a troll in the chat saying fossil fuels are one of the things you're thieving in Palestine. So
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah, definitely.
they're against it as long as, if the Jews have it, then it's somebody else's. All right, Daniel, should we hear what Billie Eilish recommends as her, as the self-appointed investment manager of billionaires? What she recommends as investments, charities to support, or what have you?
What fossil fuels are in Gaza? Anyway, I was trying to look up like what
Not
specific.
Gaza. It's not Gaza. The people who support the Palestinians think that every Jew living anywhere is stealing from someone, and specifically in Israel, that is yeah, that is what they mean. So yeah, there's natural gas.
That could be. Uh, well, I was trying to look up like what organization she's giving money to. So apparently she has like her own thing tied to the concert she did. But I cannot find like specifically. It's all like various blah blah blah, various blah blah blah, various blah blah blah. So I cannot find. specifically. So yeah, who knows? But yeah, when it comes to, so she reposted this on her Instagram in her stories. This is from My Voice, My Choice, some group, and she reposted. It starts with saying Elon Musk became the world's first trillionaire. Here's what he could do. By the way, I looked it up. He's not a trillionaire. Basically, it's if Tesla does really good in the next year, he might be a trillionaire. That's basically what it is. Which it might not. And then it says what he could do. So he could end world hunger. Musk could choose to spend 40 billion every year to end world hunger by 2030, or provide universal safe clean water for 140 billion for the planet for the next 7 years. Here I would say, like, I don't know what to even like do with that, because whenever people are talking about like hunger or even like drought, it's never the cause of like, oh, there just isn't enough production. It's always because there is some war, or because there is some catastrophe. There is some societal thing that needs to be fixed. And simply sending more money there is not
Or
going to
government
do anything.
corruption.
Or government corruption. So sending money there is actually making it worse, because you're actually sustaining the regimes that are making it possible. But if we think of like the hungers that are right now, or like humanitarian catastrophes, it's states like the not Nigeria, the South Sudan, which again is because of war. It's Burkina Faso, which again is because of war or conflict. Gaza, technically, if you could say, which again is not a conflict. Simply sending more money into Gaza is not going to solve anything. If you want to solve it, you actually need to like solve the issue that you want to do. But it's always this, it's never about actually fixing anything. It's never actually about even projecting some better future for humanity, giving more agency. Like, on many ways, this is like racist. Like, oh, we white people have to like come in and save the poor black people in Africa that like cannot take care of themselves. It's like, no, give them, actually provide them some possibility of getting out of horrible situation, instead of, we just send water there and everything's gonna be fixed.
Yeah, and provide that to them by using the fact that, Africa has resources, including human resources, where you can hire people for cheap. That is how you improve the situation for people, by actually being selfish and pursuing your own self-interest, and engaging with people to the extent that it is to mutual benefit. I don't like doing a back and forth with trolls in the chat, but the troll I mentioned yesterday, few minutes ago, followed up with, I'm against fossil fuels and theft. No, you're against fossil fuels and you're pro-theft. Unless you think all the Arabs should give back the fossil fuels. Every Arab country that is rich because it stole fossil fuels from Western companies that discovered it and discovered what to do with it. The Arabs were sitting on it for years, for centuries. It's not like they came up with it. They shoved it up a camel's ass and it went 60 miles an hour. It was Western minds who figured out what it is and what to do with it, rather than it being just useless. And yeah, so you are pro-theft, and it is consistent with being anti-Israel. Maria.
Yes. I'm not going to entertain that person's comment. But I will bring it back to Billie Eilish and the morality of altruism. So where do we go from here? Are productive people just conceding to this supposedly moral high ground? Is there a way out? Has it always been like this? Are there enough people like defending their work, not only in like practical terms that I'm creating jobs, I'm innovating, I'm creating growth, but also on moral grounds?
No, there's a spectrum of apologeticness. Like there's, maybe Elon is not as bad as others, but yeah, he is apologetic. Bill Gates is probably more. There's moments where I've seen Jeff Bezos in a few moments actually stand up for himself, and stand out for himself individually and through Amazon as well. But No, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't see enough of it. One place I did see quite a few successful, self-made millionaires, multimillionaires who are not apologetic, are proud, and encourage others to do to learn from them. Was the Irreplaceable Spark conference last month in Orange County? Michael, you spoke there, you gave a talk, you were on a panel. Do you have a message for people who have not yet bought tickets to the Irreplaceable Spark 2, which is October 17th, 18th, 2026 in Austin, Texas? And I have to tell you, the number of that's in the billions right now, the number of people who have not yet bought tickets. So, yeah. Any thoughts on any message for them?
Well, I think that this conference is addressing one of the increasing and I mean this sincerely, existential crises of our time, and that is the business people and those that are creative, innovative, and the creators that drive society don't understand how important they are. And even people that have read Atlas Shrugged where the title says that the people holding up the world left and what happened to things. I'm not giving away anything, but that's what the title is about. We try to address it at the conference. This is a great conference. The apologistness of business people is a growing problem. They do it quietly by supporting the very universities that they came from, which are almost invariably ultra progressive, left communistic teaching, capitalism hating people. You have people giving money to humanities departments that are teaching that capitalism is criminal. And people, even a smart guy like Jeffrey Ackman, who is in New York, only took his money away because he figured out that UPenn was supporting anti-Semitism, which, by the way, these things always go together, but we don't have to get into that because they run hand in hand. But he didn't stop giving it because UPenn is one of the most anti-capitalistic, just like all of the Ivy League schools are. And I went to a semi-Ivy League school, and I stopped giving money to my school as soon as it dawned on me that they were teaching people to hate me, while every year calling me up to get more money out of me to support the school. There's a line from Ayn Rand that talks about people who contribute to their own destruction. And business people contribute to their own destruction increasingly. You had Jamie Dimon, the leader of JP Morgan Chase, as I said, one of the largest banks in the world, unable to explain to Congress on public television why he made, I think it was 300 or 400 times as much salary, forget about his stock options and bonus and so on, than a janitor. He was the world's most wealthy, important investment bank was unable to explain why someone who has his skills is worth at least 300 or 3,000 times as much as someone who has janitorial skills. And the fact that he could not enunciate it or would not enunciate it, I don't think he could. And I don't know who his PR prep firm was, but they were horrendous. Explain to him that I create value every day and I give this guy a job. And if JP Morgan goes under, there are no more jobs. We have the same discussion about every industry. It's a great conference. I strongly advise people to attend this. It is, one other point I'll make is that it's very important for people to understand young people, how they're going to generate self-esteem during their life. And understand that they're living with a life that is worth living and is contributing positively. I would submit to all of everyone listening, altruism is the antithesis of self-esteem. It is actually, as Daniel mentioned it, the ultimate goal of altruism is to kill yourself. Then you don't leave a carbon footprint, by the way. So you're right up there with all the carbon, with all the climate people. And you cannot have any self-esteem if all you do is apologize for your entire existence. So it's all attached. And our society would not be where it is. iPhones were not invented because someone felt bad. They were driven to do more. Same with Tesla, same with nuclear reactors, same with how you produce fossil fuels and convert them into very usable products. And sure, we all want the government to step in and try to regulate reasonably so that things are cleaner and better and safer. Of course we do. Unbridled anything is stupid, just like an unbridled nuclear reactor is called a hydrogen bomb, or at least an atom bomb. So we don't need that stuff. What we need is people fostering creativity. It leads reason, purpose, and that will generate self-esteem. So it all fits together very nicely. And I think it's a great conference, and you'll get a lot out of it.
Thanks. And yeah, tickets are available now. Early bird prices, super early bird prices until December 1st. So make sure you get a ticket. Michael, I was in the audience in a panel years ago on climate change, and one of the panelists was talking about we need to reduce the human population. I don't remember if he said by a third or two-thirds. In either case, it terrified me. And I remember later, the friend I was with and I were going to the elevator, and the guy was going to the same elevator. And I'm not getting into this guy. If he starts reducing the population when we're in the elevator together, that's not what I'm here for. So yeah, these people are really, really sinister. The more ideological they are, the more openly sinister they are. Deborah said somewhere here, I can't find it, but something about noticed Nico's pushing an Ayn Rand event in Tel Aviv. I don't remember the date. I think it's 17th or 18th. There's Ayn Rand Con in Tel Aviv, 17th or 18th of December. One of the trolls says, billionaires and Zionists do go together. Yes, they do go together in the same way that envy and anti-Semitism go together. I mean, you're a collectivist who hates Jews because when you judge people as groups, the Jews are successful and therefore evil. So thank you for making that point. By the way, there is a great talk that I think there's two videos of in two different. Been given in two different places by Yaron Brook. Anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, or the other way around. One of those talks was given in London in one of our events, which was sponsored by the Ayn Rand Institute in 2018 or 19. Go watch that. That is a fantastic, fantastic talk. I strongly recommend it. Daniel.
You mean anti-Semitism and anti-capitalism?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah.
And makes more sense.
Yeah, I mean, Michael mentioned, and I'm sure people remember a scene, not to spoil too much, from Atlas Shrugged when some industrialist goes to trial and he refuses to accept any of the BS they are giving him. And I wish this happened once in America, in Congress. I think we saw a little bit of it when, like an inkling of it when Mark Zuckerberg was in front of Congress, and he was like, and the other people just had no idea what even is like the way even Facebook makes money. They were like boomers who had no idea how even internet works, and that was like a little bit of it, but that was like on the technological aspect, like these people don't know anything. But if somebody came in tomorrow, like had a moral defense, like Michael said, some JP Morgan Chase CEO comes and somebody asks him why does he make so money, and he will say, because I'm good, because I'm crushing it, because I've been a CEO for 5 years and I rose the stock value by X, or I did this, or I did this, and I get a compensation because of that. Somebody like that, somebody like not giving into like. Because they know the fact is like these people, like CEOs who actually do their job properly, like they know what they're doing. They know why they are there. They know why they are being successful. The board knows why they put that guy in charge, because they knew what they would expect from him. Yet they're unable to say that, again, because of moralities, because you should feel guilty for actually doing something with your life, actually doing something productive. And yeah, like having like one person, because like what they can say after, what they can say to you after that, if you say, oh, I'm here because I'm good, I deserve the money, well, what can they say? They have no weapon against you. Although unfortunately, and I think this might be one part of why the rich people are submitting, is the fact that the government and antitrust part of the government have strong power. And if you are a CEO that has, fiduciary responsibility to your investors, maybe unfortunately part of it is like submitting to the government, because government can come after you, right? It's, you have to play ball. That's what we mentioned Bill Gates. That's what he learned. Making Windows free when somebody else is selling it, that's unfair advantage. That's uncompetitive behavior. You are like screwing other people because you're giving stuff for free. So yeah, this is the unfortunate. That's why when one person actually manages to do that, like somebody like Jeff Bezos, who was seemingly was going into that direction. If somebody like this, like one person manages to speak up, that will allow everybody else. Yeah, I would, if I can just shoot one thing there, I would recommend checking out Ayn Rand's, what is it, Big Business, America's Persecuted Minority. It's a really good talk from Ayn Rand exactly about this. And also the fact that, as Michael said, that rich people who have, are giving into their destroyers. Again, Billie Eilish, who was that award from? It was Wall Street Journal, one of the more capitalist magazines, one of the more pro-business magazines. And even that's saying maybe a bit too much, but somebody who is at least somewhat standing up for it.
Formerly pro-business.
Yeah.
A troll in the chat says people love Zoran Mamdani. Usually people love a candidate in that period between when he wins and when he actually takes office and does what he and if Mamdani does even a fraction of what he promises to do, because a lot of it he can't actually do. He just said words and people voted. But if he actually manages to do some of the stuff, I mean, I'm gonna see it from
It's okay.
afar.
He has a very good scapegoat in New York, so he'll be
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. The
One of the
biggest
great
Jewish.
lines from Ayn Rand is that when somebody says we have a right to X and Y and Z, and her response is yes, and who pays for it? And this needs to be out there, because hopefully the wealthy people in New York are going to leave. We had, I will tell you though, people are idiots. I mean, we had a billionaire's tax in Massachusetts voted in by the general population of Massachusetts. Guess what? The majority of people who are not millionaires decided they would tax the minority who were millionaires. So another 20% tax got laid on top of any income you have over $1 million. And I was shocked to say, I thought, I mean, many of my friends have left, as have I, to go to Florida where there is no tax on income. And Massachusetts makes $2 billion a year more now from the millionaire's tax, because that's how foolish people are. It used to be people voted with their pocketbooks. Now they vote, I guess, I don't know what they vote for. I guess they have to feel good about themselves, that they're contributing, and the best line is giving back, which is one of the most idiotic. It's like an admission. I stole something, so I'm going to give it back. It almost walks right into the to the point.
Well, one of the great lines from Zoran Mamdani is in his victory speech, where he said, there is no problem too big for government to solve, or something to that effect. I wonder, Michael,
Too
are people
small.
what?
There is no problem too small for government to care, or something like that.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Michael, are people going to leave New York? I mean, are the wealthiest going to leave? Are enough of them going to leave that his policies, which already would be in trouble even with the billionaires there, really, we see them, in their full effect after they leave?
Look, the light here at this tunnel, on the end of this tunnel, is we see what's happened in California, and we see the kind of numbers of people that have left New York already during COVID and after COVID, and with the prices going up and up and up. I have a lot of friends in Florida who are New Yorkers. There's a lot of people I know from California who are Texans, and it seems to be mainly that way. Now, hopefully, this will happen. And the other concern on the other side, you got Ackman saying that he wrote a tweet to Mamdani and says, "Congratulations, I'm happy to work with you to make New York a better place." And this is a Jewish guy who stood up for against anti-Semitism, talking to someone who is actively supporting the destruction of Israel, actively. He says Israel has no right to exist. So I don't know. I do think over time people will have to leave. I think only an idiot would stay, especially with today's technology. Only an idiot would stay and pay 10, 12, 14, 15, 16% state tax when they can go to a place where they pay no state tax and where people treat you with respect. And by the way, they have police departments that actually enforce laws.
Somebody in the chat says, is Zoran gonna beat students? No, he's gonna stand by and cheer while students beat Jews as they did in the campus intifada, which started in Colombia in 2024. Okay, I kind of blindsided Michael and Maria with the next topic, so keep that in mind. But yeah, Pep Guardiola really deserves it, and I don't think he deserves a whole episode. So the few minutes we have left, I want to read some of what he said. So first of all, there's something interesting about if you look at the wording of the supposedly pro-Palestinian, really anti-Israel people. So a statement he made here was, we allowed a people to be wiped out. Now, that's such an amazing statement when you talk about a place where the population has actually grown during the time of the war that they started and refused to stop. I mean, everything about it's not just that you have to have some sort of a big picture lie to support the Palestinians. You have to have every little picture filled with lies. So, and something like this, again, we talked about this on the Daily Objective. It's not just that the statement like this, somebody allows himself to make it in public and not say, oops, sorry, I misspoke. It's that nobody challenges it. Which people were wiped out? Maria.
Yeah, a little bit sidelined by this topic.
Well, I could read more of what he said, if
Please
that
do.
helps. He said the world, quote, abandoned the Palestinians and allowed, quote, irreversible harm. Let's see if we have any longer quotes. Yeah, people around the world know everything, and this match, the Palestinians will see that there are parts of the world that think about them. I guess this is a friendly match with the Palestine national team and Catalonia. Uh, he continued, the world left Palestine alone. We did nothing. They are not to blame for being born there. Absolutely, I agree. They are only to blame for being murderers. They're not to blame at all for being born there. We're not to blame for being born there. We all allowed a whole people to be wiped out. The damage has already been done, and it is irreversible. I cannot imagine anyone in the world who can defend a massacre in Gaza. Maria.
Yes, I think quite the opposite is true. The whole world rallied behind the Palestinians and their desire to do what they want to do to Jews and people living in Israel. So just on that point, he's wrong. Yeah, I mean, it's that same narrative that has continued for over 2 years. That the Palestinian people have been neglected in Gaza, which they haven't. Israel was one of the biggest helpers of the Palestinian people in Gaza. It could have turned Gaza into a parking slot on the 8th of October, but it didn't. It continued one of the most, I don't know what the word is, like militarily accurate wars. So disagree with everything that he says. I don't think he knows what he's talking about. Again, is he sort of posturing because he needs to release a statement? Maybe. But the issue with that is it's damaging and it continues to propel the same lie that has been spoken for the last 2 years.
On the other hand, as an Arsenal fan, do you see a silver lining and maybe he'll focus on this and not focus enough on his job?
As an Arsenal fan, I can only say if you're supporting Man City, you need to take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror.
Michael.
I like Arsenal also, and even though I'm not as well schooled in proper football as you all have over there. Look, this is absolutely symptomatic of the entire a way to approach the Israeli-Gaza situation, starting with many things, but including and the Great Famine that was declared one day and on the day that the ceasefire happened was done. And there's actually good documentation now that body mass index, which is a relative measure of people's weight, overall in Gaza went up. And there's no question in war zones that bad things happen and supply lines get cut. There's also a ton of documentation that the ridiculous amounts of humanitarian aid are far exceed any normal person's requirement by something on the order of 30-fold, I believe. And of course, as Daniel mentioned earlier, the only problem with getting in the humanitarian aid was Hamas, was government, it was corruption, it was military intervention, it was so this notion that you throw money at a problem. I mean, really, you have to be born yesterday to believe that all this stuff, we haven't thrown money at it. If any of these people that are so smart would go look at what's been done generally about world problems, they would see how much money has been spent completely wasted and burned, oftentimes exacerbating the problem over the decades to solve world problems. And they don't get better because it takes a lot more than money. And that brings me back to the question. What is missing from today is leadership. So you have these idiots like this guy who's an evil person, and he's very well, so he knows deep down, or maybe not so deep down, he knows this is all bullshit. He knows all of it is crap. But he can say it, get away with it, and have a bunch of idiots, that are jumping around their Ivy League schools talking about globalize the intifada, that just love him for that. And what has happened is we have people like places like the BBC, who are a great mouthpiece for Hamas. You have practically every news channel in America, other than Fox, that is very pro-Gazan, semi-pro-terrorist. Generally, anybody who's failed in life and is a disgusting criminal, etc. They're upset that we're bombing Venezuelan drug cartel members. They're very upset on American news about that, instead of focusing on all the poor dead kids or comatose kids or irreversibly damaged kids that have been hurt by drugs. We don't have that. The reason nobody is speaking up is because our leaders don't speak up. Trump is the best, and he's terrible. Agree. Daniel doesn't like Trump. Trump is the best of all the leaders right now we have in the West, and he doesn't do a good job at all, and he's inconsistent, and he speaks out of both sides of his mouth. Let's get a Democrat into office in America and see what happens. This stuff will become mainstream. Meanwhile, the famine went away. Almost every problem in Gaza went away, because now you can't blame the Israelis. In fact, as far as all the people that are jumping around campuses, we turned our back on them, but no, there's no protests anymore. Very few. Why? You can't blame Israel. And you don't want to blame Hamas, because Hamas is doing exactly what they're not supposed to do. So until we have leaders in the West that stand up and call foul, and we saw what a great job Chamberlain did back in World War II. We're seeing it again. We have what are called feckless leaders. They are invertebrates. They will not stand up for what is right. It's beyond me. And I think many people believe what is right. I think they will believe them if they stand up, but not the people that have time to scream on Twitter and Instagram and all these other places.
Yeah, just quickly on the famine stuff. I mean, we did an episode, I think over a year ago, where we went through the headlines of imminent famine in Gaza from 2020, from 2016. It seemed like it was every 4 years, and it was usually a US election year, but it's exactly the same. Like in a few months, the entire population is going to starve to death. And as soon as this latest ceasefire happened, UNRWA themselves, which is a offshoot of Hamas, at best, themselves said, actually, there's more aid than anybody needs in Gaza. We have more than enough aid, but send more, because why not? These people committed mass murder. Let's reward them. So yeah, there has never been a famine in Gaza, but the saddest thing is not the lies. The saddest thing is the fact that Israel fed the Palestinians as a reward for the mass murder, for the massacre. That should not have happened. Israel should have starved the Palestinians the same way America starved Japan. This is a part of war. You start a war, you are fucked if the other side can defend themselves. And in this case, that's not the case because Israel didn't fully defend itself. All right. There's a lot more to say about it, and we will say it, but not today. Daniel, parting thoughts. Where can people find you?
Well, just quickly on Pep Guardiola. I assume he's Spanish, which is on par since the Spanish Prime Minister did advocate for nuking Israel to
He's
stop.
Catalan.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
I did a very bad thing. Nah, it's Spanish. Well, no. Why should that matter? It's he is part of Spain, as Catalan should always be. And no, wait, no, I do want to support the Catalan. I don't know how I feel about it because I hate the Spanish, but Catalans are kind of worse. So I'm not even sure which side to pick there. But either way, the Spanish Prime Minister did basically insinuate that he would like to have nuclear weapons to stop Israel in Gaza. So I think this is on par because again, what is he advocating for when he says the world hasn't done enough? You mean the world hasn't killed enough Jews to stop them from defending themselves? That is what I'm getting from it. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Damned Dan. It's gonna be in the description.
Maria, parting thoughts. Where can people find you?
I'm not on social media, but can I have two parting thoughts on today's topic? Israel should recognize Catalonia as an independent state and see how quickly everyone's opinion about Israel changes, who comes from the Catalan state. And then on billionaires, I think the more billionaires we have, the better. Because I want to live in a world with more millionaires and more billionaires because it means that we're producing and we're creating value. Like 50 years ago, there were far fewer billionaires than there are today, and life 50 years ago was way worse. So yeah, if you're a billionaire, you don't need to justify your existence.
Michael, parting thoughts. Where can people find you?
Yeah, what I love is my wife runs a small venture fund, and we do have some investors that are of that billionaire ilk into that fund, and that is a great thing to be able to do with your money voluntarily. That they do invest in young startup, brilliant idea companies that are have a 5% overall chance of success. But as Maria said, could make it to be the next Tesla. That's how Tesla started. That's how Amazon started. That's how Apple started, and so on. And frankly, my wife and I started our biotech in our kitchen as well. So I think it's absolutely a great way to put it. Michael Kaufman, 2 F's in Kaufman, and I'm on LinkedIn.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for watching. The
Great.
Daily Objective and the reality show return tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye-bye.